we come upstairs and we're going down on you and we have sex. And then the whole time, I'm just like thinking, I'm like, man, this is like so spicy. I'm like, this is like
my vagina?
Yeah. I'm like, it's like so hot. And then all of a sudden we're just like, I like was the first one to say something. Yeah, I'm like, why is it burning? Like, why is my dick on fire right now? And you're like, oh, my pussy's on fire. Or my butt's on fire. And then like I was like going back and I'm like, that's so weird. And I was like, well, maybe you got brushed my teeth or something. And then what I failed to realize was that I was peeling jalapenos for this meal I was making downstairs. And it was all over my hands.
In shocker, he didn't wash his hands.
And I didn't wash my hands. And it's called jalapenos.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Thank you for joining us. Another podcast episode with my husband, my baby daddy, Max Anderson Fett. Hello. How are you? You came up with that handle, not me.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you had Fit before people started using Fit. Like,
I know, and now
it's a joke. Now,
you know,
everyone.
Let's just dive in and talk about copycats. You know, I know that what is the saying about people that copy you?
Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
Yeah, I say that's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard. Don't copy me. You know, it's like, I'm just kidding. If you copy my handle, I guess it's fine, but it's not actually that fine. Like, think of your own thing, you know? Like, I feel like so many people copy me. And, like, I hate to sound like that. Like, I don't want to be, like, thinking that everyone tries to do it. But then how many coincidences can you have with people that you put something out and then all of a sudden, look what something else is coming up over there that's just another version of, like, what I just did. And it's kind of like, it gets old. Gets really old. But then I try to think, you know, like I used to work at Under Armour headquarters and I was a trainer there, and there were a couple of trainers there that always copied my workouts that I would write for classes and clients. And like I would let them copy, you know, and take it and then teach their own classes and clients my program, but it kind of like after a while got a little bit old. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you'd rather be copied than not copied, though.
People probably copied off of you in school all the time. You were probably the desk everyone wanted to sit next to.
Yeah.
I'm sitting right behind to the right of Max Anderson. Let me see. Okay. C, E, D.
I would guard my paper. I was the type of student who would guard my paper.
Oh, you nerd.
Yeah.
I hated people like that.
Because that's just not fair. Like, it needs to be, it's a meritocracy. So, like, don't copy my stuff. Like,
no, that's how I feel.
You can't, like, piggyback off
professionally.
Of
don't copy my shit. Think of your own stuff.
Yeah. Well, like,
do your
I
own
think
research.
In that instance, it's like a little bit obvious of copying. Like, adding the word fit isn't most like that's
no,
like
that's
most,
not a good
like,
example. But like, that's not a good example. That's not a good example. But like, creative content that I put out, or like everyone's copying like my Wild Wednesday stuff, which we're going to get into our first segment in today's podcast. It's like I started Wild Wednesday, you know, and then all of a sudden you see everyone else starting these like Wild Wednesday things or like Freaky Friday. I'm like, bitch, that was my idea. I started that. Don't copy it. Like, think of your own creative content idea that you could do in your page with your community. And now everyone's like doing it, and it's like annoying. But that's just another example. I have a million examples. I won't blow people's spots up.
Yeah, well, thinking for yourself is very difficult.
Certainly is.
Yeah, that's why people don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard.
Let's dive into asking some Wild Wednesday questions to you. Do you consume my Instagram content and Wild Wednesday?
Wild Wednesday is a hard pass for me. Anytime I see...
You're not my demographic.
Well, correct. But it's not even that it's anytime I go on someone's stories and I see like 1,000 little ants across the top, I'm like, there's zero chance I'm getting through this. It could be something that I'm like I've wanted to see for like years. I'm like, nope, no way.
It's like too daunting to you?
No way. That's not, yeah. So it's nothing personal.
Okay. No.
But some of them are good though. It's like really, I'll like watching some of them.
Some of them are so good.
Yeah, these are
like
really
I think it's like the new like, you know how like back in the day when we would like grab like Us Weekly, and we would like take it to the pool or take it to the gym or like flip through it through lunch. You're just kind of like looking at like clothes and like pop culture and stuff. It's just like easy read that's like entertaining. That's why I feel like the replacement on people that do like creative, in my opinion, stuff like this on social media, it's like replaced that, you know, like Dumois' account, for example, or House and Habits account. It's like, that's my new, like, I don't really do the Dumois thing because I don't really care about celebrities, but I do love following House and Habit. Like, that's my jam now.
Yeah.
Like, I would never read a magazine. House and Habit, I'll find you, girl. Every day I'll try to catch up if I can. Find her on Instagram. You won't regret it. You're welcome. What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you while doing the deed? This is a Wild Wednesday topic a few weeks ago. What is the most embarrassing that's happened to you, Max, while doing the deed? It doesn't have to be while doing the deed with me.
Oh, well, it is with you.
Feel free to share.
Luckily, it is with you.
Don't say anything too embarrassing for me.
Well, it wasn't your fault. It was my fault.
Okay.
Do you remember the story about remember it happened, and then I felt so bad, and then we Googled it, and we're like, no, there's actually a word for this. We'll save the word for the end. Okay, remember whenever we were living in Eldon? And
that was my favorite house we ever lived in.
Yeah.
I love that place.
This house a little better,
I was just thinking about that place yesterday.
Yeah.
I loved that house. It was tiny, $2,000 a month. We thought it was so expensive.
It is. It was.
That's nothing.
Yeah. But no, so remember I think after Mackenzie was born, or you were pregnant. Were you pregnant with him in that house? Or
God, that makes the story even worse if I was pregnant and you did this to me. Are you talking about
right?
What are you talking about?
So anyway, I'm cooking and you're like, you weren't into me. I think this is why I want to say you were pregnant. Because I was like, oh, here is my chance. I was like, I get no chances. I got to drop everything I'm doing and take this chance. So I was cooking and you were like, hey, whatever. You said, hey, come upstairs. I'm like, okay, I'm going upstairs. So we come upstairs. And we're going down on you, and we have sex. And then the whole time, I'm just like thinking, I'm like, man, this is like so spicy. I'm like, this is like
my vagina?
Yeah. I'm like, it's like so hot. I'm like with my hands, and I'm like, it was almost like you had just, if you had just did mouthwash or something, and it almost desensitizes your inside of your mouth, and you were gonna lick something. And then we were then we started having sex, and I'm like, this is so spicy. My dick is on fire. Do you remember this? I was like, my dick is on fire. We had to stop having sex. I'm like, what is happening? My vagina was on fire. Your vagina was on fire. We just we weren't saying anything. We were just going out for 5 minutes or whatever. And then all of a sudden we're just I was the first one to say something. Yeah, I'm like, why is it burning? Why is my dick on fire right now? And you're like, oh, my pussy's on fire. Or my vagina's on fire. And then I was going back, and I'm like, that's so weird. And I was like, well, maybe I brushed my teeth or something. And then what I failed to realize was that I was peeling jalapenos for this meal I was making downstairs. And it was all over my hands.
In shocker, he didn't wash his hands.
And I didn't wash my hands. And it's called jalapenos. And then we Googled it, and we're like, oh my God, it was so embarrassing. And then it was like, oh, it's called jalapenos. So
so basically,
oh, my dick was on fire.
If I remember correctly,
it was
we're
burning.
Wait, why is this burning so much? What's the problem? What's the problem? We hop in the shower. We figure out finally it was the jalapenos that he was cutting downstairs. He didn't wash his hands, and he came here and stuck his fingers in my vag. Fucking lit me up. It's like light a fucking torch and just take it to my vag.
It was like my mouth was hot, my hands were hot, my dick was. It was like I was like, she's got something wrong with her. She's diseased. She's got it.
Me.
She's cheating on me. I knew it.
So then we grabbed milk. I think we had almond milk in the fridge. We started pouring milk.
Yeah, that's right.
Trying to cool it down. It was flaming.
It was so hot. I would never wish that upon my worst enemies.
Yeah, but then we did Google it, and then I've done that. People sent that in for Wild Wednesday about the jalapeno
Yeah, someone
thing.
said jalapenos.
It was a bunch of entries that said it, so it wasn't just us.
Oh yeah, it wasn't us. You Google it, and it's the first thing that comes up. It's like WebMD jalapenos. No, it's we weren't the only ones.
I'm so sorry about the flies, guys. They're super annoying. Okay, what's the most embarrassing second moment for me? I can't
so that
share.
wasn't it, I guess.
I can't share. I can't think of it. What are other embarrassing moments that happened with us having sex?
Oh, there's a really funny story.
Remember Buttons started humping your leg?
Oh, yeah. Buttons used to.
My dog, when we first started dating, I had this amazing Shih Tzu. I'm still in love with her, and she's been dead for years. But when we first started dating, I still had her. She was still alive. She was this little 9-pound Shih Tzu. And she was used to, basically, it was just me and her, So when I started dating Max, he came in, we were fucking in my bed. And Buttons would get really heated, she'd get really excited that this was going on. And she would feel left out. So she'd hop up on the bed, mount on Max's calf and just start. And Max would be I'm like, Buttons, get down. Now I'm never going to get off. Just mess everything up.
One of the funniest stories of all time was whenever, I'm twice your size. So
yeah.
And when I'm on top, it's
people ask me about that
weight.
in DMs, by the way. It's like, how do you guys have sex? Like, you're so small and he's so big.
Well, I'm very flattered. I'm not that big. Like,
yeah, well, I'm not that. I don't think I'm that small,
yeah,
but like, people are like, doesn't he crush you?
This is the funny story. Remember the time when you were like I was on top and we were having sex, and then you were trying to be sexy, so you like got up and like went to whisper in my ear, and at the same time you were gonna whisper something in my ear, I like moved around and like put a bunch of my weight on you, so I was like crushing you.
I was like suffocating.
Yeah, I was crushing you momentarily as you were trying to talk dirty to me, and you were like, "Do you like it?" It's like the creepiest. It was such a creepy voice. Because, like, imagine if you're being, like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine if someone's pressing you. Like, you just got the wind knocked out of you. And you're like, do you like it? You talk like an old man. And you're like, do you like that? So funny. I stopped and I was like, that was creepy. I was like, no, I don't. That was... No, now I'm lost, and please never do that again.
Now my dick is soft.
Timing's everything. Because if you would have said it normally, like any other time, but like it was the time, I was like,
you like when I talk dirty, don't you? Though normally,
no, not in particular. I mean,
you like it.
I'm not really. I'm not a sexual being really. I look at myself. I'm like, that's not really like something I'm like. That's not how I kind of define myself. I'm just like, it's like I don't think talking dirty.
Any of us define ourselves that way.
I think a lot of people do.
In the moments, when I like throw a couple your way, you're like, you're so sexy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are so sexy. I mean, like, yeah. I think I said this last podcast. You're so sexy, you make me feel ugly.
I'm not sexy now. I just got a chemical peel. My face is like on fire and so tight.
Yeah, that
so
was interesting timing for that.
If I look horrible right now, it's because I just got a chemical peel. So sorry. Next question. Wild/horrific dating app stories. Do you have any of these? Dating stories in general. Do you have any crazy like dating stories in general, like embarrassing moments when you were dating someone? I can think of one for you.
Okay, go ahead.
When you had that chick over your house and she was giving you a blowy.
Okay. My mom listens to this podcast, okay?
But this is a good time for you to out this because your mom's involved with the story.
I think she knows.
Let's tell the story.
That's not a funny story.
It's so funny.
That's not funny. How do you know that story?
You've told me it before.
Okay, yeah.
You don't want to share?
No, not in particular.
Okay. I don't have any... Okay, I probably do. I probably have a ton, but I can't actually think of any. And I don't want to talk about other guys in front of Max. I feel bad.
Yeah.
They all suck anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't, like, it's been so long since I was...
I know. It is kind of hard to remember, too. Like, do you remember, like, before? I barely do. Yeah. It's kind of hard, yeah.
It's like, it bears forgetting, too, because it's like...
I remember I had this one guy I was dating that like I was trying to break up with, and he like stalked me, and I was living with a roommate. His name was Dave, and he was like fucked up and like trying to like get me to like talk to him and take him back or whatever. And he showed up at my house, and Dave was in the kitchen cooking. And I heard this like pounding on the door, and this guy was like really tall. So at the top of the door, there was like little windows, and he was like on his tippy toes, and you just see like his eyes, like Nancy, where are you? and like Dave's in the kitchen cooking, and I was like right outside of the kitchen. There was like a half like bar, like breakfast bar, and I just like dropped behind the bar, and I like was like on my knees, like hiding behind the bar. And I was like, Dave, don't tell him I'm here. And you just heard like Dave in the kitchen like flipping his eggs, like she's not here, dude. Like, he's like, let me in, Dave. Stop messing around.
I took a dump one time at a girlfriend's house and got clogged. I got embarrassed and just left. Didn't say anything.
Wait, you took a dump?
I was so mortified.
Wait, you took a dump and got clogged, and you climbed out the window?
No,
How'd you
I
get
just
out of there?
left. I was like, I gotta go home. So my mom's gonna pick me up. It was funny. It was at Jordan Smith's house. It was the hottest girl. So this was like the hottest. I was young. I was like, we were in middle school, and she was like the hottest girl in the city as far as our like 6th or 7th, 8th grade minds were. And she went to a different school, so it was like everyone knew of her, and like I didn't go to the same school, and she was like, "Oh, I'm into like I want to hang out with Max."
Okay.
And she had older sisters. She was the youngest of 3 sisters. They were all beautiful. And I went over to her house. She has this old house in like South Park, and I had to go to the bathroom so bad, and I just
were you in there for 60 minutes like usual? Because you definitely know what happened. Jesus Christ.
I was so embarrassed. I was sweating so hard. I was like, this is my chance. I was like, I had one chance and I blew it.
That's so funny. People actually wrote that in, some people. And then they were like, I cut it up with like a toothbrush that was in the bathroom. And then I scooped it up. And then like.
That's so smart.
I put it in the trash can, and then like I told them I was going to take out the trash for them. Like I don't know, like stories like that were like really funny.
That's funny.
I can't think of like any others, but those were good. How about firework fails? On 4th of July week, we did firework fails. We have so many stories about this. Let's start with our firework fail this year. Do we tell the story?
Sure.
So like we live in Newport Beach, and we live on the peninsula in Newport Beach. And 4th of July here is huge. Like, it's always been huge. We have like parades and little carnivals, and everyone comes down to the beach. Like, there's a flood of people on the streets, and fireworks are illegal, but like everyone does it. Like, everyone does it. So after the sun sets on 4th of July, we live on like the sand is like right there. So when the sun sets, everyone goes out to the sand. Everyone that's vacationing here, locals, people ride their bikes down to go. And on the sand, it's like pitch black. The ocean's right there, and everyone the beach is very like wide. You would say, is it wide width? Mm-hmm. So there's a ton of room. So people just go out into the darkness where there's like a spot of sand, light off fireworks, and then like people are sitting down watching them all, whatever. There's thousands of people on the beach. I mean, so many people, and like everywhere you look, there's fountains and big fireworks and small and sparklers and every kind of firework. So we get a bunch of fireworks this year, and
we got like little sparklers.
We got little like fountains.
They're not
little
like,
sparklers. They were not like the big fireworks or anything.
Mortars are the ones that go up in the air.
Yeah, they weren't those. Yeah. So we go out because like it's cool, for the boys to see, and boys are like into like stuff like that, like explosives, So we go out, and I'm like, we take a little basket of fireworks, just like everyone else out there. And I'm like, I make like Max light them because like I never really actually did fireworks when I was little. So it makes me like a little bit nervous myself. Like I don't feel like I'm the best one, but you and your dad and all them, you guys used to do all the time. So he goes out into the middle of the darkness to light some fireworks. We light up a couple of fountains, and actually our fireworks were so small that everyone else around us started booing our fireworks because they were so unimpressive to them. Like they wanted to see like the big dogs, So we lit off the first couple just for the boys. Like anything is like impressive for the boys, And people were like, boo, like more. In fact, there was like one dude that started running through our fireworks because he thought they were such like baby fireworks. Yeah. He like was like running through, like leaped over while it was like exploding and stuff. So like that's how not threatening our fireworks were. Meanwhile, you look around, and there's ones that are shooting up into the sky and just like exploding, like huge,
like
big,
legit illegal fireworks.
Yes,
like on the beach right next to us.
Yes,
like as far as the eye can see in either
as
direction.
far as the eye can see in both directions.
Yeah.
So then we're like, the boys are like, cool. They do some sparklers. I'm like, let's light up a couple more, and then we'll pack it up and we'll like go home. Like we don't need to do anymore. So Max goes out, and he has like 3 little like fountains, and he was gonna light all 3, and that was gonna be like the last ones that we do. So he goes out there into the darkness to like light it, and I see him like bend down, start lighting, and all of a sudden I see flashlights, and I'm like, oh shit. And like 2 or 3 cops walk up to him as he's about to light the fountains. And they're like, drop the lighter, sir. Yeah. Drop the lighter. Step away from the fireworks. And all of a sudden, there's hundreds of people around, which Max is not like being the center of attention like that. Like,
and
really
I also
uncomfortable.
Don't like breaking rules. I didn't want to.
No, he's not a rule breaker. He was already nervous about it in the first place.
Yeah, we're doing something we shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah. And I mean, the cops are just doing their job. Like, it's fine. But it was just like, what are the chances that we're letting off these baby fireworks? There's thousands of people on the beach, arguably hundreds of fireworks.
Yeah.
People that are setting off fireworks.
I have trouble. I'm sitting next to them.
The cops.
And I can't even hear them because the fireworks are literally being lit like right next to us that are illegal. Like, are going up in the air.
Yeah, so they're rating him. They're rating
him geek level irony.
Yeah, it totally was. So I'm catching the whole thing on video because I know how mortified he is, and I'm like, I've got to just capture this moment because like in 20 years this is going to be so funny.
The kids are watching me get arrested.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like the personality of my boys is just like of our boys is so hilarious to me. So Kenzie's like, "Oh my god, that's the cops? Like, are we doing something wrong? Like, you know?" And I was like, "Well, technically, like, we're not really allowed to be like out here on a public beach, like lighting these fireworks. So they're probably going to give Dad a ticket, but it's fine. Like, they're not going to like arrest him or anything. Daddy will just, comply and answer their questions. It'll be okay." And my younger one, Leo, who has my personality, is like, "I will kill those cops. I will throw them in a trash can, and they'll go away forever."
They be gone forever.
Like, they better get away from my dad, And he's like so protective. It's just like, it was really actually cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, no, Leo, like, I know, like, we're trying to protect Dad or whatever, but the police are just doing their job. And I tried to use it as like at least like a teaching moment. Like, cost us freaking however many. It was so expensive.
Expensive trip to the beach.
Yeah, very expensive trip to the beach.
Way more than the firework cost.
Oh my God, yeah. So then he's getting written up this ticket, and everyone is booing the cops because they're like, "This is ridiculous!" Like their fireworks were like freaking sparklers, and then meanwhile, people are lighting off shows like all around him. In the video I was taking, Max is getting written this like ticket, very expensive ticket, and then I just like pan to the right, and there's just a giant fireworks going off like right behind the cops. They're not going to find those guys, the ones that are lighting off like the real deal fireworks. They're just writing Max up for his sparklers, and it was just like, it was whatever. It is what it is. Like, we took the risk and we have to pay now, did pay, whatever. It's fine.
It's a teaching moment.
Teaching moment, yeah, for everyone.
I think they're just doing their job. That's what I tell the boys. The boys are really upset with the cops. I'm like, listen, they'd rather be with their families. Like, they would rather not be out writing tickets to dads fucking doing sparklers on the beach. Like, one of the cops is a rookie cop, and they're just doing their job.
Yeah. But it was definitely a firework fail, that's for sure. Do you have any other firework? I didn't do fireworks as a kid. I wasn't allowed to do anything cool or fun. But like, did you? You guys did a lot of that stuff when you were younger.
Yeah, we did a lot.
Did anything ever happen?
No, that went off in my hand one time. A penny firecracker that blew up in my hand. And I thought like blew my hand off. But they're like the smaller ones that like people do light them and let them go in their hand because they're not super powerful. That scared the shit out of me. My dad. This is funny. It's like a lot of my childhood. My dad would do like a mortar. He would get mortars, so the ones that you like put in the tube. So you'd have a PVC pipe inside a bucket that had concrete in it, and he would light them off. And one time, he did like 2 or something, and like it went off and it exploded like this way and up. And we were like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And we look, and like the bottom of it had gone like missing, and we're like, what just happened? And it went up in the air. It like exploded and went up in the air, and it was like raining down on the trees around us. It was kind of
didn't hit anyone.
No, it didn't hit anyone.
That's wild.
But they almost burnt the house down, or something. They have a story where the house I grew up in almost burnt down from a firework accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Landed on the roof.
Caught the roof on fire. Or something.
Oh my God!
They had to spray it off. That stuff's dangerous, man.
It is dangerous. I get it. Like, we were walking out there, and our next door neighbors, who are like an older couple, they're really so sweet. But they were like, "You're taking the kids out there. It's dangerous out there on the beach, tonight."
It really,
but it is dangerous.
It really
but
is,
I'm like, I don't know. I roll the dice with fate sometimes, I think I was just thinking of a fire. Oh, so this 4th of July when I came home so Max went to bed after the whole firework ordeal that we got in trouble for at the beach. We came home and the boys went to bed. They were so tired because our day was just like so eventful and they were running around or whatever. So they go to bed at like whatever it was, like 9 or 9:30, and Max fell asleep with them. And I wasn't like that tired yet, so I went outside on like our balcony in the front of our house and I was like sitting there for a little bit, just like watching the other fireworks because they're just going off in all directions. So I was just out there, like there was some going off over here, some going off over there. And then I was like, all right, I was like thinking in my head, I want to clean up the house before I go to bed. So like I really should get started doing that because I want to go to bed soon. So I'm not tired tomorrow morning. So I came back inside and I closed the sliding glass door and like locked it. And like the second that I closed and locked that door, there were mortars, is it called? Like the real fireworks was outside of my front door outside of our like front, I guess, balcony on the street. And, there's houses on both sides. There's cars on one side, but sometimes two sides. And there were these huge fireworks going off, but they had fallen over or something. And they, instead of going up, they were shooting out to the sides. So that immediately was bouncing these huge fireworks going off, bouncing off my house, bouncing off my neighbors' houses. My next door neighbors, that older couple I was talking about, were outside on their patio. They ran for cover, went inside, and for probably 15 large fireworks went off, hitting the houses and the cars in front of our house, denting the cars. I thought it was going to catch our house on fire. I was so stunned. I didn't even grab my phone in time to take a video of it because I was about to go ring the alarm and get out of bed. We gotta vacate the house because I thought, oh my God, this house is about to catch on fire, because of these major fireworks that are going off. Somehow it didn't catch anything on fire and it ended up hitting stone and cars. So it didn't hit material, I guess, that actually could ignite. It didn't hit wood or I don't know, whatever. But it was crazy. And I was that shit should be regulated. That person should be getting tickets, because they just damaged all these vehicles. Yeah. They potentially could have burned these houses down, these really expensive houses. I mean, it was bouncing off that house on the sand right there, the little Italian, whatever. Anyway,
but it was the kids downstairs, right? Because you woke me up.
I think so.
And then I came out there and they were cleaning it up. And you were is that yours? And no. And I'm oh, that's weird. You're just
and then they tried to bring it in my gate to throw it in my trash can. I was no. Do not bring that in our gate and try to put it in our trash can. One, it could catch the trash can on fire. Who knows if it's even extinguished fully? And two, I don't want that evidence on our property. Take that somewhere else, Yeah. So, I think that's all I have for. Oh, last one. Things that annoy the fuck out of you about your partner. What does your partner, your wife, do that annoys the fuck out of you? You can only pick two things.
I can't think of. I mean, I know there's
many.
There's a lot of them. I just can't think of. I don't write them down.
You can think of some. Come on.
Actually, I do have them written down.
Okay, this is probably from our therapy session or something.
It was, and then I just never really got to.
Amazing.
You can start. Look up my list here.
I think the thing that annoys me the most about Max, hands down, is his poor tone and his facial expressions that say you're an idiot without saying you're an idiot, his facial expressions. And you guys actually write me all the time on Instagram and reference his facial expressions, and then you guys think they're funny, and you're oh my God, he kills me. He is looking at you you're a moron, and I'm yeah, I know. But try actually being the person in that conversation, and you're married to the man that's constantly looking at you you're dumb. And that you internalize that. That annoys me so much because he has a great heart. And I don't think that deep down you think that I'm dumb. But your facial expressions and your tone are so condescending sometimes. And that sends me. It sends me. Huge trigger for me. What about for you?
I don't know. I don't really have. I couldn't find the list.
I'm perfect. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's
how dirty your car gets, that really annoys me. That you don't put things away. That you take shits for 45 minutes.
Oh, wait, you're talking about me. Okay.
You dick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything right now.
Your hygiene sometimes. The fact that you don't shave your balls.
I was going to do that, but I got sick yesterday.
It's always something, babe. Yeah. It's always something. Yeah. But then there's amazing things too. I've never met someone that works as hard as you, that's as ambitious as you. I mean, aside from myself, I guess. When I was getting married to Max at my bridal shower, my sister planned this game for me where
yeah, this is a good story.
We had to answer, she got with Max before the bridal shower, asked him a bunch of questions, and then she asked me those same questions and how would Max answer this? And we had to have the same answer for things. And I honestly crushed it. And I think one of the things were what's Nancy's favorite thing about you? And you said my ambition. Mm-hmm. And when she asked me that at the bridal shower, I was like, oh, easy, his ambition. And they were so shocked that I got that answer because it was like, what's your favorite thing about the person you're going to marry? Like his ambition. But it really is, because the ambition can be applied to really anything. You're ambitious to like create like an amazing family, to create a career, to reach your dreams, like to have a nourished like relationship you're invested in. Like ambition could be like a wide range. And I'd never thought I would meet someone as ambitious as me. Sometimes I feel like my ambition is like debilitating, if that even makes sense. Like I'm so ambitious. Sometimes I feel like my body's going to explode. Like I don't even know what to do with it. Do you ever have that feeling where you want it so bad and you're like you get so like amped about it that you're like, you don't even know what to do with yourself because of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been kind of beating myself up over that for the past like 24 hours. Like Beach is being sick. Because I feel like
he was in bed yesterday
that's the
sick.
only thing that I can point to. Like, because I've been like really dialed on my nutrition, really dialed on my fitness. And it's gotta be like work related or just like stress related.
Yeah, but I mean, I think like, you can't never get sick. I mean, it's just
I know. But if you look at like the thing is of like it's just kind of like it was kind of like I need to have another outlet.
Do you guys like our star of the show, the fucking fly?
Yeah. So
you have to have another outlet to do what, you think?
Just decompress.
Yeah.
Because like my thing is I'll play video games, which I really enjoy. But that kind of like amps me. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, I gotta make fucking champ. Like I can't just play to be like, oh, I'm gonna play it like and just enjoy myself. I was like, no, I'm gonna play it and try to play at a really high level, or else I'm not even gonna play it at all. So I've been trying to get back into the beach a little bit more and do like an hour a day just to like just to decompress because I don't have it like. And then I guess just But yeah, I mean, it's ambition is like it's the growth mindset, right? It's like, hey, whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna be really good at it, or else you're just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure.
It is. Yeah, I agree. Okay, that's all for Wild Wednesday. I think we'll take a couple questions from the community if you're up for it. Okay. We'll just take a couple. So, what are your non-negotiables in a relationship? His and hers.
You go first.
My non-negotiables in a relationship, probably that my partner has to have like the want and desire to like provide and succeed, and not just definitely with like money and success, but with everything else, like willing to the want to continuously like grow and improve. Like nothing annoys me more than the person that's so stuck in their own mindset and ways that they're literally unable to grow because they hit a certain point in their life and like that's their ceiling. And that's fine if that's some people's journeys, whatever. I just couldn't spend my life with someone like that because I like constantly want to bust through the ceiling and get to another one and bust through that one and get to another one. And you call it maybe like ambition or self-growth or self-reflection or the desire to continuously learn or explore or have, different creative ideas or improve relationships, become a better parent. But, I think that is a non-negotiable for me. People that are able to self-assess and continuously improve across the board, I think. That's definitely you. I mean.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
You're welcome. What about you? Non-negotiables.
I don't know. Probably like faithfulness or like loyalty.
Yeah.
That's
the one for me too, I think.
Something like that, where it's like not even like that. Like if you were like, hey, like, and just like being honest, like being, just open, like and honest. I think.
Yeah, I think making mistakes is a part of life, and that's everyone makes mistakes, and that's fine. But loyalty. And that goes with any relationship in my life. If I feel like someone is disloyal to me or betrays me, I'm out. See ya.
That's me
never.
every quarter.
I just can't do it. I don't know. I just like the thing is I feel like I'm a really loyal person. You know, like if you give me like your best and like you're loyal to me and loving to me, like I will go to bat for you. Like, and I will never stop, and I will like fight for you until the end. You know. But the second I feel betrayed, I just cut it and I'm gone.
Yeah, it's hard. There's like not one word that I think like summarizes all of like or summarizes all of like the thing, but it's like just trust. It's like, you know, you have a partner. It's like, I always trust you to make the right decision.
Yeah.
And if you ever make the wrong decision, it was because you're wrong, right? And we're wrong all the
you're
time.
Human.
Yeah. But it's like never, it's about like finances or about with like other men or stuff like that. It's
I wanted to tell you. Oh. I remember last podcast we were talking about getting hit on.
Oh my, okay.
And
I have more to this.
After that podcast, I went to the oxygen chamber, like, and it's been really hot here, like hot, you know, it's not really hot. It's like 85, but like, it's really hot for here, you know? So I was wearing like biker shorts, like short biker shorts and like a little like tank top or whatever. Not because I was trying to show off anything. I actually prefer to wear long pants, but because I was just hot as fuck, you know? And I was going to go in the oxygen chamber, and it's been hot in there too. So I hop out of my car, and there's like a guy across like the parking lot, and he starts like catcalling me. And I'm like, damn, it's been a minute since I've been like catcalled like that, you know? And I was so caught off guard. I turned around like, does someone need help? Like, what's going on? And then I realized like, oh.
What was he saying?
He's talking to me. He was like, "Damn, girl, how you doing?" Or something like that, you know.
This is Fashion Island. This happens.
It was across from Fashion Island, like in the like over by Strawberry Cafe. I don't know if you know where that is, but by Edwards Cinema on that side, you know. Yeah. And I was really shocked. I was like, I didn't even stunned. I didn't know what to say. I'm like, it's been so long since this happened to me. I was just like, "Hi," and I was like.
That's funny.
And they started like checking my 6. I'm like, oh shit, like is he following me? You know, I was getting all paranoid. But then I was like, I had to tell Max because this like never happens to me. Finally, you know, not that I liked it. I didn't. It made me feel uncomfortable and I don't like it. Please don't do that if you see me. But
yeah, it's entirely different for women from men getting hit on.
It feels very violating when someone catcalls you like that.
Well, like women.
I'm like, oh, I want to cover my legs now. I felt like dirty. You know,
there's no catcalling for men. Like it's just that we're very different worlds that we live in.
It's like, damn, look at that bulge. Yeah. Like, I would never
look
say
that big old dick.
So true, though.
Yeah. No, it's
like, women are wired that way. Well, most women, I don't think, are wired that way.
Yeah.
But, okay, cool. Let's do maybe one more question. Oh, yeah. What's the rest of your story?
Oh, I didn't tell you about this.
Did they, what?
I found out who it was.
How?
Well.
Wait, let's first, real quick. If you didn't watch the last podcast, Max was working in a Starbucks, and there were a couple older women that were at that Starbucks ordering their drink, waiting for their drink, and then they left and came back in, and the one of them brought a note to Max from the other one that was in there and basically said, like, what did the note say? Like, give me a call sometime.
Like, you look familiar, text me or call me.
Yeah, and, like, left her number.
Lady in red.
And then she was like, oh, well, lady in red, or, like, lady.
Could miss
like,
you.
Okay. He was wearing his wedding band, so that was weird. But okay, who was it?
So I thought about. So it's a really funny story. Or I don't know how much I can share, but
share it all.
No, not all of it, because it's. So I was chatting with.
Now I'm like, what?
I was chatting with. I think it was my trainer, and then I was like, oh shit! We work in commercial real estate. This is your job to look up people. You know what I mean? Like you're researching LLCs and people all day long to build your book. And then I said, oh, well, I have the software. Let me throw that number in there and see who this person is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have it for my brokerage.
Yeah.
I was like, let me throw this number in there and see what it is. And the software has, I mean, you'd be surprised with what these tools have. You just throw a number in there. It's got your Instagram, Facebook.
Oh, my
everything,
God.
Addresses, everything.
Can you look me up in there?
Yeah. I look myself up all the time, yeah.
What comes up?
Well, I don't know. I don't use it. I mean, I haven't used this. This is a software I should have deleted 2 years ago, or I should have. I stopped paying. It's like
not deleted.
$3
Yeah, it's totally appropriate for you to have access to it. Yeah,
I don't use it. Like if I was doing brokerage, I would use it all the time.
Yeah,
and I found out who she was, and she is she's the married to a very prominent person in our local community.
With the Irvine Company or something?
No. But what? No. It might have. I didn't look. But she's definitely over 50.
Send me your Instagram.
I'll tell you who it is after. But yeah, it was just, I was just kind of like, and you go on Instagram and it's like, oh, like boss bitch, like power couple, like all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, and part of me, and
I will
so the
blow
thing is,
that fucking spot up so fast.
And part of me is like, I was talking not like about this specific instance yesterday with somebody else, but I was like, part of me is like wants to like say something and be like, hey, like
your wife's
like trying to like do this, and the other part of me is like, there's 0% chance that this guy doesn't know that. Like there's no chance.
You think that he knows?
He's got, and the thing is like it's not like it was this thing that was like, it was broad daylight, 3 p.m. at the most popular place in like the like where we live.
This is making me mad now.
Like it wasn't like a oh, this is like a surreptitious, like I was out doing something wrong, or it was like, you know what I mean? Like so I was like, he for sure. This is a thing. I think when you get older and you're bored, like this is something that you probably do for a lot of people.
You know, 37 years, I've never really been in a fight, but now I'm thinking about it.
You're funny.
That's really interesting. Can't wait to figure out who it is. You know, Newport's a small town. Okay,
it's super small.
If you fucking live here and you're gonna do something like that, like everyone's gonna find out, and then we're gonna also know like who you are. Like you can't get around that in Newport Beach, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's where I was like, I was like, this is like, it's got to be a thing that happens. But put it this way. I'm not special. Like, you know, that's that what I take away from it is like that wasn't.
You don't give yourself enough credit.
No. I'm just saying like I think I'm very special. But I mean, I'm saying like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, like, you know, it's kind of like the girls are like, I'm normally not like this. It's like, bitch, sure, you sure are.
He's probably the 5th guy this week you've gone to and shook your pussy in front of.
I bet you think strippers like you too, huh?
Yeah. Okay, let's do where I have 41 minutes over here. Let's do do you ever regret going in business together? That's a good one.
You can go first.
Do I regret it? I never regret it, like truly regret it. But there's many times, and it happens less frequently now, but it still does happen, where I repeat over and over and over and over again to myself out loud, I fucking hate working with you. I fucking hate working with you. I fucking hate working with you. Because it is so hard to work together, and we just have such strong personalities. We see things very differently with the business, you know, like we work on different sides of the business, but we do have to collaborate in ways that are important for like the strategic growth of the business, like the end goal that we want to reach with the business, you know, decisions that we have to make about running the business. And I get really frustrated sometimes because Max is just a hard ass. I mean, kind of, you know, like
Says you.
He's such, I know, but like.
At least but I'm a hard ass about something.
The thing is this, if it wasn't this is what I think, you know, part of the question kind of references is like, I probably wouldn't take things nearly as personal if it wasn't my husband that you know, like if Bree was my business partner and knew everything that Max knew, I don't think I would get my feelings hurt, or I would feel like, that he's like purposefully like trying to like talk down to me or like squash my ideas or not take my opinion into account like enough, because he makes the final decisions on a lot of things. Like he is the CEO and I am not suited to run the business, and like that gets proven time and time and time and time again. I am a founder. Like that's who I am. Like I'm not good at managing people. I can be good at it if that's what I need to do, but like I don't want to do it. You know, I'm emotional. Like I am extremely passionate, and that's not the best like person to be the leader of the business. Like you need someone who's not emotional. That's like very even keeled and doesn't get like emotionally tied to things. Max is really good with, you know, being professional. Sometimes I just like fuck this, you know. I remind myself of my father-in-law sometimes. My father-in-law is also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
His name's Ernie. And sometimes I just like get out of work some days. Like the other day I said to you, I was like, I felt like Ernie Anderson today. Just like we're entrepreneurs and we're passionate and we're really good at what we do, but like we're not the best with like managing, I don't know, like not like managing emotions, but like we take things personal, you know, like, and we're just like, I don't know. It's really hard. It's really hard. Like working with your husband, it's really hard running a business. But I feel like now we're like probably 5 years into like really working together full time.
And not even 4 years.
4, yeah.
4 years.
So now I feel like it's taken 4 or 5 years, but like I do feel like I'm at a point now where I'm okay with not being like at the helm 100%. Like I'm okay with just like owning my role in the company. And like there was definitely a period where I was kind of handing over things to Max and like saying, I'm going to take a step back. I'm not going to be the one that's in charge. I'm not going to run the company anymore. Like I'm going to work on just like creative coaching, product development, these things that like I should be really doing because that's what I'm best suited to do. And it was just so hard for me to just like hand over the reins, you know, like because it's my baby. And I think I went through like this like little like depression almost where I was like crying a lot and I just like didn't feel like a sense of like, I'm like, who am I if I'm not the head bitch in charge? Like, I don't even know who I am at work if that's not who, like what I'm doing, you know? And I was kind of like, why do I even work here? Like, it's like so crazy to think about now because like, I'm the face of the brand. I created all these things. So like it's really important for me to be here. But I just like had this time period where I was like, why don't I just like step away and retire and only like shoot the ads and stuff and just like not even do anything? Cause like what good am I here if I'm not like running everything? Like, and I have these like crazy thoughts where I would get like so upset. I would like cry about it like every day practically. And it took me like months to like get to the point where I felt comfortable in owning the role of which I should be in the company, which is not CEO. And it is more of like, you know, I guess titles I think are so dumb. That doesn't really matter. But like working just more with like optimizing, coaching, content, creative, and product development. That's what I need to be doing. That's like and that's what I want to be doing too. But it was just really scary for me to like hand it over. And it's like crazy. It's like so dumb to think about because I'm like handing it over to my husband. It's not like I'm like handing over ownership to like some outside party, which like I think it would be really, really hard to do. Like, you know, Allie Webb is the founder of Dry Bar and like a personal friend of mine. And she had to do that at a certain point where like her brother and her husband at the time were sort of all running things. And it got so big that they hired like an outside CEO to come in and like run things. And she had to like relinquish like all this like control and decision making. And I think it's very normal for that transitional period to be very difficult for founders because it's like your baby, you know, it's like you gave birth to this like thing that means so much to you and you just want to like protect it and make sure nothing happens to it. But if you do that for too long, you suffocate it, you know, and you like limit and stunt its growth. And I knew that we were at the point where like I was just not suited to grow. Like, it got too big for me to like be the person to do it anymore. So I handed it over to you and it was really hard. And I never have regretted working with you. It's just been really, really, really difficult at times. And there's been lots of times actually that I've said, I can't do this anymore. Like we're going to have to figure something else out because this is just not working. It's affecting our relationship too much. Like I resent you. Like there was a lot of things, you know, but I feel like now we're in like a much better place with it. It's like everything. It's like seasons of your relationship go through good and bad and whatever. And I think a working relationship like we have, it's the same. Like it's never going to be like all rainbows and lollipops and it's like a roller coaster or it goes around in seasons or however you want to look at it. But, you know, I think now we got into a good place where it's like, I'm okay with saying like, I'm not the boss. I'm not in charge of that. Like Max handles it. So like, go find him. And now I just need everyone that works for me to understand when I say I'm not in charge of that, it really means I'm not in charge of that. So I can't help you here. Go into Max, you know, but what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you ever regret coming on board and doing this?
Yeah, I mean, many times over the last 12 months specifically have been very challenging.
Can you speak up a little bit? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's just, yeah. And it's just, it was, I think it was funny. So you were asking me what annoyed me. And I was able to find the thread that I kept because I thought I didn't keep it under your name. I kept it under, it's called cognitive dissonance. So it's like, whenever there's a clear disconnection. And all of those examples are like really relevant to like this conversation.
Oh, okay.
And that's like, what's extremely annoying is like just to answer that question is like when you're you're saying one thing and acting a totally different way.
Yeah.
And I think this last 12 months for you has been a really huge period of growth that, when you look at like, any one instance, you're like, I don't know if we're going to make it through this. Like, this is like a very challenging piece. And at the end you come out and you're like, oh no, this is like, we got this. This is, this is dumb. Like, this is not something we should have been arguing over because at the end of the day, like, you're doing what you want to do. I'm doing what I want to do. And like, I think when the business was changing or coming down off of COVID, it was like, it's a very challenging time. Like, and that I was more, for me, it was like you were more, hostile or adversarial. And I was like more convinced that this is what I'm built for this. Like,
yeah, he really is.
I'm made for these periods. Like, and it's more so, and it's not that like I'm better than you. It's just that we have extremely complementary skill sets.
You're better suited to be doing what you're doing than I am. For
correct,
sure.
but yeah, we're just like you're better suited to be doing what you do than like me. But like that, and to me, it's like that's the entire point, right, of a team. Is like if we had the same qualities and characteristics and skill sets, then we would be a good team.
Yeah.
Right. But if we have very complementary skill sets, so it's like, it's that cycles. So, I think we're at a really good spot now, and there's just a lot of stuff to be excited about. Like,
yeah,
and not just like now. It's interesting because I was thinking like Kevin Plank, the founder of Under Armour. We were chatting about him earlier, and he had this saying that he was like, we have yet to create our like defining product, and it's like, well, like. And, like, I think if you hear that, you're like, well, no, you already created it. Like, there's zero chance you're going to recreate, like, what you did right now with spandex and polyester and defining
that original
a whole
garment
category.
was, like, the thing.
Yeah. So there's zero chance you do that again.
Yeah.
But it's the mindset I understand, right? Because it's like, hey, I'm going to continue to kind of build these best-in-class things and just continue to push the envelope and get better and better and better. And that, to me, is, like, what's most exciting. It's, like, it makes the stuff we're working on, like, executing on today, it's like, oh, this is, like, really boring because, like, look at what it's going to look like next year. Like, in January of next year, it's like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, and it's a lot of hard work that goes into getting to that point.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of failure, too. That's what I think people don't realize. And that was probably really frustrating. It's like you're like your ideas aren't all like good all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I know, it's the way ideas work. Like you're gonna miss a lot of them. It's like it's like be mad at someone because they're not batting 500 in the MLB. It's like, well, that's not really the way statistics work. In the sport.
Yeah.
So
no, it is true. I mean, we there's a lot of failures that come along with like owning our business and creating like all these things that don't really exist in industries that we are in the way that we are putting them out there. And it's so much pressure to be the person that's like Max, like to be the person that's really in charge of making final decisions and all that stuff. Like it will like, for me, maybe it's because I'm a woman, maybe it's because it's just not my skill set, or I just take things too personally, or I'm too close to it because I created it, or started it or whatever. But I feel like it was like taking years off my life. Like the amount of pressure that like I felt that like when I was more like in charge is like, it can like kill a person. Like for sure probably took years off my life, and since I've like accepted kind of like stepping back in a way and just like working on the things that I'm best suited to work on, it's really been so freeing and so good for like stress levels and stuff because that pressure is like off of me, it's like, I don't think I could ever describe what it feels like to need to like provide a certain level of like success or revenue or whatever because like you have people working for you and you don't want to let them down and you want to take care of them and you want to have this mission in your head about like helping people and making things accessible for people and like giving a certain experience to people. Like, God, it is so much pressure. It's like 1,000 pounds on your chest like every day. So for me, I personally, like, it's been so nice to just offload that pressure onto Max. And not because I want him to feel that way, but because he handles it differently than me. So, like, he can sort of carry that weight without letting it, like, eat him alive. And for me, it was, like, eating me alive. And it was just too much. Like, it was just too much. So I'm so thankful that you are, so complimentary to what I can offer, because it was definitely needed. It just took me a really long time to come around the corner and be like, okay, I can do this. Like, here are the reins. You know what I mean?
And I think that's to be expected.
Yeah.
I don't think it's and I always had confidence the whole way, where it's like she's going to wake up one day and see that this is as obvious as anyone else viewing this, right? And then I think that you realize your emotion. And I think the emotions are, a dual-edged sword, right? Because you want to be able to channel them, right? I think a lot of startup founders are highly emotional. And you're generally the person that starts it up is not the person. The person who gets it 0 to 1 is not the person who gets it to 1 to 5 or 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Rarely ever.
Unless you're like Elon Musk or something.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, if you look at, just you got to play to people's strengths, right? So it's like, and I think a lot of times with people who are passionate, they get focused on outcomes, not the process.
Yeah.
Because the process is everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And you have to be able to, if you want to make something that's scalable, repeatable, and able to be deployed across 50 or 500 people or 5,000, you need to have processes in place. So it's just for an artistic person like yourself, that's not how your brain's wired. It's just not, right. So it's a very limiting factor in terms of like managing, but it's not a very limiting factor in terms of creativity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good place to end. Do we have a 10:30 with Virginia?
No.
Okay. False alarm. Event notification. I'm like, oh my God, am I supposed to be in a meeting right now? All right, thanks so much for joining us, guys. If you want to see anything specific or have any questions for us, leave it in the comment section. You can subscribe. We love you guys so much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.